Welcome everybody to the HolloTalk podcast. This is Jetpack Nick, and I'm here with a very, very, very special guest, my guy, Tim Sumter. Say what's up to the people.
Peace, y'all.
What's going on, man? It's been a minute. For the people who know, I've been trying to get you onto the HolloTalk podcast for a minute now. I ain't gonna say how long, because I would do you like that, but it's a little minute, and I'm happy that you're here, man. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for being patient. There was a lot going on over those that year or so, but I'm here and I'm grateful that you had me on your platform.
Absolutely, man. I'm grateful for you to be here. And like I said, I already know it was taking a little minute because you're a busy man, and the people about to find out why. So, for the people who don't know who you are, can you let them know who you are, what you're about, and what you do?
Yeah, so my name's Tim. Social media, I go by BRL_gold, BRL gold. Um, and I am social media person, social media professional, social media manager, social media cultivator. I'm kind of involved in all things cool. Um, I think I've transformed a little bit from just social media into just media itself, but my roots are in social media and kind of guiding people in the right direction of how to handle social media, how it performs, what things to do to cut through the clutter in the world of business with social media. So yeah, I mean, in short, that's what I'm about. And you sprinkle in a little bit of entertainment, you sprinkle in a little bit of pop culture, fashion.
Hmm.
That's me.
Okay, all right. So, couple things, right? So, I know the whole social media side, and we'll definitely get into that. But you said that you transferred from social media to just media. Oh, can you talk about that a little bit, if
Yeah,
you can?
yeah. It pretty much is about my career, right? So what I do as a career is for a premium auto brand. I've run their
Hmm.
social media for about 3.5 years. I've transitioned from that role into another role, not handling a vehicle, but more of a program. And it involves more than just organic social. It involves paid social, national media, and paid media. So that's why I say it's kind of all encompassing. It's more than just social media. However, social media is my love, my heart. I see the business benefits for social media, and also something that I've been really preaching right now is the benefits of branding yourself through social media.
Okay, so the transformation from social media just into all other aspects of media, what has that looked like for you in your life or career currently?
Um, I think it's been a little bit of a change, right? Because I've been doing something for so long, and you get just so not comfortable, but just so used to how things work, and you learn
Right.
the ebb and flows of algorithms. And if something's not working here, you know to do this, and usually that will work, right? It's all about shaking things up a little bit to kind of get people reinvigorated.
Hmm.
Um, Now, and it's fast paced. Like social media world is fast paced. You shouldn't really overthink it,
Most
right?
definitely.
You should create stuff that feels organic and authentic to yourself or whatever the brand you're representing. Um, but it really shouldn't be too polished. It should be able to, you should be able to look at it and feel like, oh, I could have done that, or I could see myself doing that. Where when you're getting more into like national media, it's more about thinking. Like you have to think things through a little bit more. It's more strategic, because now you're really messing with money, right? So
Right,
you got to
right.
really make sure that you're looking at numbers and audiences to make sure that you're penetrating and getting to the message to the right people. So
Okay.
that's the
Oh,
only
go ahead. I'm
difference. And
sorry.
no. And for a person like me who's always moving, um, it takes a little bit more discipline to sit down and concentrate on one task. But I'm getting used to it.
No, and again, so that was part of the reason why I asked the question because I know how frequent you move and the things that you do and the people that you associate with, business wise and personal. So the fact that you said that the idea of the social media doesn't have to be as strict or as like copy and paste, I guess, and it could be more free flowing and more creative. That's interesting. Just knowing that certain companies, especially when you get to a certain level, don't really follow that path. Like they're really, this is what we've done, this is how we know how to do it, and this is what we're going to continue to do. Whereas if you have like an up and coming company or somebody who just doesn't know, then you find yourself having those free flowing, ads, or those free flowing and creative aspects that you might not get at an established company.
Hey, you are 100% right. Like, don't get it twisted that it's a little bit of give and a little bit of take.
Right.
Still, when you're in corporate America, there's still certain things you have to do, right?
Hmm.
There's only so far, a company's going to take a certain idea that you have. Um, but at the same time, if you feel strongly about doing something, you should stand up for it. And most of the time, if they trust your judgment, they'll let you try. And if it works,
Right.
it works. And if it doesn't, then it's a learning lesson. But I think any company, if you're employing a creative, there has to be a time where they have to trust the creativity of that person and trust that they're not going to lead them down the wrong way. So it's the relationship is both ways.
Right. So for you, how would you say you've been able to implement your creative, like your creative ideas into things that may not have had that creative sauce quite just yet until you was able to implement those creative ideas?
I have always been an outside of the box thinker. I've always been somebody who kind of does not like the norm, status quo. That's just not what I'm about. I think it's mainly because I get kind of bored easy.
Hmm.
So I always have to keep this is for real. Like it's I have to keep things spicy. I got to keep things fresh. So I'm always looking for the opportunity to plus something up. Like whatever that was done the old way could work, but then I'm
Hmm.
also like, well, it works, but I'm sure it will work or be even better if we tried it this way. And I'm willing to take that risk. And if it falls flat, I'm willing to take the blame for it also. I think that's
Hmm.
good quality that, if it blows up and it's great, team effort, I'll take some credit as well. But if it falls flat, I'll take the blame as well, because I know for everything that falls flat, I might have 10 that go crazy,
Hmm.
you
And
know.
so like how would you say for sure, or how would you be able to tell someone you have enough rope to do those things and mess up maybe once or twice before you get it right, and they don't fire you or they don't, cut you loose, because everybody doesn't have the same leeway that other people may have in order to try something creative or throw something against the wall hoping it sticks. You only get one shot, and if you don't get it,
Right.
peace.
Yeah, yeah. I think although corporations are a little bit rigid, I
Mhm,
don't feel that they're that rigid to if especially in a role like social media or something that they're expected for you to be a little bit more creative. I don't feel as though they will reprimand you or fire you if you make an error in judgment on a creative piece. Now,
mhm,
if you do a like gross negligence, like you straight up do something that's crazy, then yeah, like it's a lot of responsibility because when you're a social media manager, you are the face of that brand, whether the brand likes it or not. Like you have full access to everything. So if you wanted to like post something derogatory or like bad about the company, you can do that, right? So
right.
that company to put you in that position, they have to trust who you are as a person, your morals, and that you are creative but not too far gone. I think it
Right.
kind of has to be a safe bet. And I think I've learned like what I can do within the company guidelines to cut through, but at the same time not come off unauthentic to who I am.
Mhm,
Like most of the stuff that you would see posted on our page, yeah, I mean, it could just look like it's something from like a director from the company. But if you see something that just is a little bit more creativity or like involving a personality or a little bit more soul pizzazz, it's pretty much I'm on the trigger of that one. Like I'm the one who kind of pushed that through. Um, but yeah, you have to
no,
trust yourself. You have to be trusted. You have to be fearless too. You have to. You can't.
this is a
You
fact.
can't work. Yeah, you can't work without with you feel like somebody's over your shoulder. Right? You can't play tight. You have to trust your gut.
No, that's a fact. So, so I want to put it into terms that some of my listeners would definitely understand. So me and you both are huge sports fans, right? And over the last week or so, it's been a lot of different moving parts in the NBA.
Yeah.
The biggest one was the Luka Doncic trade, right, which caught everybody off guard. Now, for the Dallas Mavericks GM, everybody was looking like, "What the hell are you doing? Why would you trade a generational player to the Lakers to get whatever? It doesn't even matter what he got in return. You don't trade this guy, right?"
Right.
There's a potential that this will not work out, and there's a chance that it might be a boom, and you might win a championship this year. But making a move like that is like, what's going on? Do like him? He like does he have the leeway to stick through long enough to see this through this big move that he made? Whereas somebody else might not, have they might have been fired on the spot once the trade went down. You know what I'm saying? Like one of those kind of things.
Hey, I'll tell you this. When he made that move, he knew what he was dealing with. So it's either going to work or it's not, and he's out of here. That's just how
Right.
it goes. You take big risks. The reward is big or the opposite is big, right?
That's a fact.
I guess some of those big decisions are great too because if you have to make a big decision like that, you should be able to sleep pretty good at night
Hmm.
because you know what the outcome is going to be. You're either going to be the hero or you're going to be the one that is on the chopping block. It's not going to be it's going to be one or the other. So you have to be willing to face the repercussions for either one of your actions, from that action.
So would you say that that is the secret sauce of being able to live with those decisions that you make, and also the potential of it being a boom versus a bust? Just the idea of I'm going to do this, I'm standing 10 toes down on this, and whatever the hell happens, happens.
Yes, absolutely. And you have to have integrity in business. So there's no better sleep at night than knowing that you made the right decision, that you're doing things the right way, legally, all that type of stuff.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So as long as you know you're making the right decisions, you're using your best judgment, you shouldn't have any problems. Really.
You
You gotta trust your dope. You have to trust how dope of a
That's a
person
fact.
you are, how, your vision. If you have a thought or an idea, of course, you should never just go by your own ideas, right? Like if
Hmm.
you get a vision or something, run it by a few people that you trust.
Yeah, right.
Run it by some people on your team that you feel as though are open minded to new things, and that will also tell you if the idea is whack, too, right? You don't want to just or surround yourselves around a bunch of enablers. You want to be able to go to people that you can trust to be like, yeah, that's a great idea, Tim, or nah, I don't know about that. Talk to a few people. And if the consensus is nah, not good, then maybe you don't do it. But at the same time, if you feel really strongly about it, push it through, baby. Roll the
That's a
dice.
fact. That's a fact. Seven.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, because like I can even like use myself as an example with you. When I had met you at Rec Philly, you happened to just be standing there, and I was standing with a few friends of mine, and I was like, I like this guy's jacket. You had on a fresh green Kith jacket. I was like, okay, all right. I just want to say I like his jacket, and to be quite honest with you, I didn't even know that you were speaking that day. Like
Right.
I probably knew it, but I didn't know that that was you standing in front of me. And
Okay.
all I wanted to say was, "You got a nice jacket, man. Like
Right.
I'm liking this."
Yeah.
And my friends was like, Tell the man he got a nice jacket." I was like, "All right, I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
him."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I told you, and we had about a 10-minute conversation before you went up to speak on the panel, and that led me to being here with you now, and you being on the HolloTalk podcast, and us building this relationship. So I can just take myself as an example of what we're talking about now. That boom versus bust. Because I could have walked up to you, and you could have been like, "Man, get out of here! What are you doing? I'm focused on the panel."
Hey,
But that wasn't the case.
what I will say is this: whenever you have that thought or that feeling that you need to go up to somebody and say something to somebody or do anything, you should do it
Absolutely.
because a lot of the great relationships that I've created or people that I've met or plays that I've helped put together, it's just something in the back of my mind being like, go talk to that person or
Hmm.
call this person or send a message to this person. And some great things have come from that. And, I don't want to get into like, God, the universe, anything like that, but, like there's certain things like divine order, right? There's certain things that are put in place for you to progress through life. There's people all around you that can help you, but if you're too hard and you're too prideful,
Hmm.
you're not going to get anywhere, man. Like this world that we live in is about making connections and networking and treating people right and doing more for people, a person, than expecting back.
No, that's a fact. So I want to go to that point. I really want to highlight that point of the making connections with people thing. So for me, right, if somebody was to ask me what do I think one of my biggest strengths is, I would definitely say um being able to talk to people or connect with people. Obviously, I have a
Yes, yes,
podcast. but but the whole connecting with people and being able to put people together, put people in position, to make plays like you said. How do you turn that into a career like you've done?
I don't know, to be honest with you. So yeah, to be honest with you, like I can go back and just kind of give you a little bit about my background if you want,
Oh yeah,
just to
please
kind of
do.
show you,
For
yeah,
the
just to
people who don't
show,
know. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
So um, a little bit of, I won't call it unusual background, but I was born in uh, or I was born in Patterson, New Jersey, in a
Okay.
hospital in Patterson, New Jersey, inner city, but I never lived there. I lived in a town called Lincoln Park, very suburban,
Hmm.
probably one of three or four black families in the town that I grew up in. Um, my mom and dad both worked in kind of like the Patterson area, but everything that we did was in Patterson as far as church, barbershop,
Hmm.
going to see my family, cousins, and stuff like that. NAACP, like choir rehearsals. I spent a lot of time in Patterson. And I think my parents encouraged that because although we were living in this suburban town with a lot of white people, they also wanted me to also understand and embrace my blackness.
For sure.
So as far as culture connecting, it was like, I'd go to Patterson and hear R&B, soul, rap, and loved it from the first time I heard it. Right, like it felt like, oh my God, this is what I connect to. I'd go to my friends in Lincoln Park in New Jersey, and they were listening to more like rock music and heavy
Hmm.
metal, which I never really understood.
Right.
But that whole time, I started to like pick up on certain things and understand why they like certain style trends and what influenced their culture. But then on this side, I was hyper focused because I wasn't around it so much on
Hmm.
the black experience and black culture. So whenever I got my opportunity to touch something and immerse myself in something black culture based, I was all in. So I
For
become
sure.
obsessed. So anytime I saw a Right On magazine, Word Up magazine, Yo MTV Raps, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like the box, all that type of stuff. I was totally in trying to
You was
figure out
on it. Hmm.
what it was about. And forget about when, I found out that hip hop was sampled from older soul music, right? That took me down a whole other rabbit hole. But anyway,
Yes. Yes.
so I got really involved in uh, the arts. Right, I loved rapping, I loved singing, I loved dancing, I love fashion. But at the same time, I love sports, primarily basketball.
Hmm.
So, I spent most of my time, 90% of my time, doing those things. Right. And then when it was time for me to go to college, graduated high school, um, I wanted to pursue music. So I went to University of Hartford in Connecticut, Hart School
Hmm.
of Music. I was a music major there, started out as audio recording, and then I went to music business. Spent 2 years there. And then I'm transferred to Delaware State University, an all black school,
Hmm.
HBCU.
HBCU. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Peace to the Hornets.
Mm-hmm.
USG Hornets, right? So I went there because I had an opportunity. I auditioned for a show called Teen Summit.
That's
And
BT, right?
yeah, yeah. And at the time, Teen Summit, BT was in DC. So I would go to practice at Teen Summit, go to tape shows at Teen Summit on Saturdays, practice throughout the week, and then come back to school. So I would go back and forth periodically. And that's where I started meeting people. I had met some people along the way, college and stuff like that, but it really wasn't like anybody that I felt like, that had a big significance in my life, you know.
Right.
But I started meeting industry people at Teen
Mm-hmm.
Summit. And the person who is probably responsible for getting me involved in marketing, music marketing, was Most Def.
Yeah,
That's
sing.
the way. Yeah. So it was just a chance meeting of him there, me talking to him about like what I wanted to pursue in life, not knowing at the time what it was truly about.
Right.
But he put me in contact with some people over at Raucous Records where he was signed to. And next thing you know, I'm getting packages on campus and I'm like handing out t-shirts, CDs. Like that was the first like marketing job, like
For
repping the
sure.
brand. So, left that, graduated college, left Teen Summit, aged out by then, right? And I had a decision. I could either go like to California to pursue like entertainment stuff,
Mm-hmm.
or I could go back home. And I went back home and got into corporate America. And I've told this story a few other times, but it was the worst decision in my life. I failed horribly at corporate America because it wasn't at the time really wasn't me. I didn't have the
Yeah,
discipline like that. I had discipline in other things.
I
Like,
understand.
I could go dance practice for 2.5 hours or do other
Right.
things in the art world or whatever for hours. But I had an issue getting up at 6:30 in the morning to be somewhere at 7:30 to work 12 hours. And this
Mm-hmm.
company was the worst. Management training program, like it was a big sham. But I will say that it did teach me work ethic. I
For
spent
sure.
too many years there. I didn't really, I won't say it was a waste of time, but because I learned a lot from it. But, um, throughout the years, I learned what I like, what I dislike. And I learned that you can't just be chasing money all the time, too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, like through those years of business, I learned the art of meeting people and talking to people. And, I think within the last 7 years or so, I learned the art of not doing for you,
Mm-hmm.
but doing to help other people.
For sure.
And it can be rough sometimes, right? Because sometimes, people will kind of take advantage of you,
Most
but
definitely.
you can't worry about that. You just like, if you just keep a pure heart, if somebody is asking you for something and you had a connection somewhere and you feel as though it's a good play, or it could help them or it could help the company, you just do it. You don't look for anything in return. You just do it because it makes sense. If it
It's
doesn't make sense, then you
100%.
don't do it. Right.
No, it's
But yeah, I
a
think,
100% true
but I
for
think
sure.
for the audience, that to me is like the biggest thing I learned is to be selfless, do for others. Don't worry about what they're doing for you. It'll all just work out for the greater good.
No, that's a fact. And that's why, like whenever we do talk, I always tell you, I'll be like, let me know what you got going on. If you got anything going on that I could be a part of, please let me know. Like seriously, just because, just off the strength of one, it gives me experience to be able to, do some real cool stuff, but also two, being able to be in the rooms with the likes of you and the other people that, that surround your circle. That's a very, very invaluable experience. Like that's not something that you can count. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that's something that is going to carry me further than I could have even imagined. All just from walking up to you and saying, "I like your jacket, man."
Yeah, that's right. Look at us. Look at us now. Look at us now.
We here, baby.
We here. We ain't here yet. We ain't here yet,
Oh,
but we
we
getting
uh,
there.
we moving on up to the east side.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right.
Trying to get a piece of the pie, baby.
That's right.
No, but even like just like even people that I've met or like people who have been a part of what I have going on just with I'll just keep it to the podcast for instance, right? So I had went to Made in America maybe 3 years ago now
Uh-huh.
it was or whatever. And I was just like I was just going around meeting people and stuff like that, and I just happened to be doing like this little mini interview, and I did a mini interview standing there, and then I happened to look to my left, and Jay-Z's mom was standing right in front of me.
Okay.
So, people was like the guy that was interviewing me was like, "Yo, I'm about to say hi to her," and I'm like still in what I was just in, so I wasn't really like looking. And then I turned, I'm like, "Oh shit, that is Miss Gloria." So I happened to get pretty close to some of the people that was that was around there, and I got a chance to meet her and speak to her, take a few pictures with her, and also allow her a chance to listen to my podcast. So I can say Jay-Z's mom listened to the HolloTalk podcast.
That is dope. That is dope, man.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Jay
yeah,
is Jay is a very special guy, business wise, man. Like I respect Jay's business.
yeah. Is that somebody that you would definitely want to work with? I'm sure. I gotta ask the question.
I mean, here's what I've learned.
Okay, talk to me.
Here's what I've learned. There's a lot of people that I would like to work with. Um, I'm really starting to believe now that, yeah, like the celebrity, working with a celebrity is cool.
Hmm.
And I do like celebrities. I feel as though they have great value,
Right.
right? Especially if you're trying to get a message out to a mass audience that maybe you or your product doesn't really not align with, but maybe they don't really look at you in that way.
Hmm.
I think if you align with the right celebrity, you can get that word out there. But in this day and time,
Okay.
very careful about who I would say that I would want to work with,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
because it's crazy. Like social proof is a great thing, but it can bite you in the butt too.
How so in this particular aspect?
Well, I mean, listen, let's just say.
If you can say,
Oh no,
if you
no,
can
I'm
say,
just saying, like, no, let's use. I mean, it's evident, right? Like, there's so much going on in this world
for sure.
of people bringing up things that accusing celebrities of doing X, Y, and Z, and
Hmm.
people bringing people to court. You don't know if it's true or not, and let's just say certain allegations are true, and you've aligned yourself with that person. Now you
Right.
become somewhat of I guess what they call it, a pariah or whatever the
Yeah,
case
you,
may
you
be.
you get tainted just by association.
Yeah, so like you just have to be careful. Like you can, and it's crazy in this world too because we do a lot of like vetting, right?
Hmm.
Especially when you're working with somebody, you want to make sure that they have a great character,
Absolutely.
that they align with the brand, and you do your best. But then it could be one day that something goes wrong. Like let's just say somebody who I really liked with Will Smith, and I'm so happy for him right now. Like he's doing well, right?
Right.
On the
Right.
return.
Right.
But who would have told me some years ago that Will Smith would have smacked the mess
Smack
out of
fire
somebody,
out and
right? Out of somebody on stage in front of the world,
crazy.
right? You would not expect that from. So yeah,
No,
it's
no.
just not. It's not a. No one is safe. No one is exempt. So I just try to make your best judgment calls and do all you can, but you can't really trust anyone's actions.
S- mm, Okay. So knowing that, right? Like what would be your process as far as saying, okay, this particular person is somebody that I want to work with versus I don't really know. Like you might be good for the brand, but I don't know. Like what's your process with that?
All right. So usually, if it's the I don't know, you better move
It's
on.
usually a no. Okay,
Yeah,
got you,
yeah, you
got
better move on. Like it's usually the ones that I'm like, yeah, I can see it. Like where it's really no hesitation. It's like, yeah, yeah, I got it, I got it. Yeah, and I don't think everybody has that gift. I have
you.
that
No.
gift. I can see somebody. I can as soon as I hear a name or that person sticks out to me, I'm like, oh, here's the play.
Hmm.
Like I know how I can roll this in. and it's not one dimensional too. It's like 360. Like, oh, we could do this, that. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have like a specific example of like, okay, like this is somebody that I work with, this is what we did, and this was my favorite thing that I've done with this person or that person? Do you have like a person or a project that you can say that about?
Well, I have one that I'm working on now where I see that happening, but
Okay.
I think when I brought Sierra to the brand, I think that was a good one. Like I think that played out really well as far as the execution.
Mhm.
Um, you know, I think it performed pretty well, and I think we brought a different audience to the brand. Um, you know, that Sierra's followers are very loyal,
Mhm.
um, and I saw nothing but love when she came over. And I loved working with her. And I think that one of the greatest things was, it was more than just her repping the brand, like in commercial, on social media. But I think the greatest one was when we did the championship. Um, and she came out. She took a golf lesson from Black Girls Golf. She never really
Mhm.
played before, so she had a black woman teaching her how to play the game of
Yep.
golf, giving her a lesson, and then she had the opportunity to speak to young kids and their parents, some of their parents from the Chicago area.
Oh
All
wow.
right. So she took time out to actually take pictures with each one of them, give them an encouraging speech. So that was, to me, was the 360 moment where I felt so proud because not only did it represent the brand well, but it represented and showed love to our people.
It's giving you a thumbs up. Well, that's great.
Yeah, yeah,
No, for sure.
yeah.
So when you talk about the 360 idea of it all, like what does that what does that encompass generally?
I mean, I think you have to connect to something greater. Like, yeah, a product is a product. And even when I'm, talking to some of my buddies who have
Mhm.
brands and stuff like that, like it's nowadays it's not just about the product. Right? You can show the same sneaker over and over again, different
Mhm.
variations, different colorways, different silhouettes. But it comes to a time where you have to connect to the story.
Mhm.
And I think the new luxury in advertising is storytelling. You have to be able to convey the story. And that's why I'm so happy about where Nike is heading with this new band
Yes, yeah.
campaign.
You
Like,
took the words right out of my mouth. I was
bro,
gonna
they
say
were,
Jordans don't be Jordans unless Michael Jordan wearing them.
bro, these last few years have been rough. And, under the old leadership, you could see how people just came in and took market share away from them.
Mhm.
Right? A lot of these brands, you would never think they could take the market share, but they understood the culture, they
Yes.
understood the customer, they understood what was missing, right? And it
Yes.
was about performance, it was about the storytelling of the performance, being authentic to the audience, but at the same time being swaggy. And I think Nike at some point just got too full of themselves. Like, hey, we could just put this anywhere. I mean, especially when they
Yeah,
started threatening to take away like distribution to stores and go
for
like
sure.
straight to consumer model. Like that was like wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, that like this new whole that the whole story that they rolled out was incredible, man. Incredible.
Yeah, that new unbanned campaign is
So dope.
but even to your point, like with Nike with Jordan at its apex, it's like the whole storytelling aspect. You get Spike Lee and to bring in the culture, from the films to the fashion, and matching that with Michael Jordan's game on the court and Michael Jordan's fashion on the court, and just putting
Yeah.
those two things together, that was the astronomical boost to them, which is why we be like, damn, you remember it's got to be the shoes, to
Yo,
this day.
you know what's so funny that you just said that? And this is something I never thought about, but Michael Jordan, right? And his swag and how he was carrying himself, like that wasn't scripted. Like that was
No.
him. That was authentically him. And just him being himself and the way he carried himself and the way he even wore his socks and,
Hmm.
his swag, like that was not manufactured. That was him, and that's why it penetrated. Like he was just being himself. He didn't like how things were being done, and in some ways, I think that's kind of how I am,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that kind of makes me a little bit of have a little bit of a powerful approach about myself because I'm done with trying to be phony. Like this is me,
Yeah,
right?
you should unapologetically be yourself for
It's right,
sure.
but it's hard though.
No, it is
It's
it
hard,
is most definitely, most definitely.
especially in corporate America,
Do
especially in
do
corporate
tell,
America.
please tell, do tell.
Well, I mean, it's getting better, but some years ago, let's even go back like I don't know, 6 years ago, like people were still like wearing suits and ties and
Mm-hmm.
hard bottoms and nothing wrong with that. Like if it calls for it, I can do it. Like I do
Right.
both. But in order for me to be comfortable on a day to day and for me to be in my best state, I feel like I
Uh-huh.
have to be comfortable.
Yes.
And I'm not going to take it too far, right? Because I'm at an age where I don't think I take it too far. Like I like casual, but at the same time, like I can go from the office to, saying a networking event if I had to.
Yeah. I mean, you got a
Right.
nice fit on right now. What you wearing right now? What you got on?
This is my boy Malcolm Garrett. Retired from Society. I rep their brand a lot. Like
Okay.
dope guy, um, great visionary in the fashion world. And I hope to be doing a lot more with him really
Okay.
soon. So look
Shouts
out for him.
shouts out to Malcolm. Say it again. What, retired from society?
Yeah, retired from Society.
All right. Make sure y'all go check that out.
Check him
Shouts out
out.
to you, my brother.
That's right. That's
But
right.
but but do continue. My fault. I ain't mean to cut you off. My
No,
bad.
no problem, man. No problem. Yeah, but like you just have to be yourself, man. Um, be comfortable in who you are, how you present yourself. Um, and if a company has strict rules of, you can't be that, then guess what? I guess you shouldn't be there.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. No, that's very true. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, but even matter of fact, let me just go back to the Jordan point, right? Mike from
Mhm.
Brooklyn, man. Like Mike from Brooklyn, you know. So
Michael from Brooklyn.
so of course it's the whole thing but again that goes back to the point of the Spike Lee part of it, bringing Spike Lee, do the right thing. You stepped on my shoes, it's the whole thing, man. It was just lightning in a bottle, and they caught it perfectly. And to this day, you still look back on those ads and be like, damn, Mike really the GOAT, which is why the unbanned one right now, that was made in what, 1985, the
Yeah.
band
Yeah.
commercial, 1985, and it's 2025, so that's 40 years now. Yeah,
Yeah.
40 years later we bringing back something that happened 40 years ago, like,
Yeah. Because
so
that's a
that's
great
perfect.
story. I mean, we all knew that story. Pardon me, I gotta.
No, you good, money, you good.
Yeah, I mean, we all
Self-care, baby, self-care.
self-care, baby. I mean, we all knew the story. Like I knew the story because I was in that era. Like my mom was taking me. I was taking my mom, or asking my mom to take me to different stores to get Jordans, to get
Hmm.
those ones, right? And I finally found them. And I remember at the time back then they had Air Jordans, but they had the ones for the kids called Sky Jordans. So those
Uh-huh.
are the ones I got, right? So I got the Sky Jordans. Um, but yeah, like it was a movie, and then as the years went on, you started hearing about, hey, this guy's paying a fine of like
At
thirty
five, I think it was
thousand.
the total was 5,000 a game, I
Yeah,
believe it
you
was.
know how
Yeah.
it goes. The game of telephone, it
Oh
always
yeah,
is.
yeah, that always
I think
go
by
up.
the time
Yeah.
I think it was like 17,000 when I heard when I was younger. But I knew it was him getting fined often,
Yeah, yep.
and to this day it's still happening. I was talking to a good friend of mine, like one of his friends is getting fined every game
Really.
for wearing something that's not NBA standard. But he was like, he said he was just going to eat it. So,
Uh, And if you got money to blow like that, by all means, I ain't counting your pockets, brother.
bro, you gotta. Hey, if you're gonna stand and make a stand, you better
You got to stand on it. 10 to
stand on it.
that little 5,000 a game don't mean nothing to Mike now.
Yeah, yeah. And look at the story it created.
Exactly.
Man, please, man, please. And that's one thing. Like, I don't think our culture, man. Like, it is very powerful.
Absolutely.
Like, I could say that we are the culture that makes things tick,
Without question.
right? So sometimes it disheartens a little bit when it gets overlooked and they start looking at other things because they don't understand what the heartbeat is.
So would you say that that's a deliberate thing, or do you think that people really just don't know? Because for me, it would be hard for me to say that people really just don't know when it's copied and imitated at the frequency it is. But I also do know that some people really just don't know. They just go based off of what they seen or what they heard, but they just really don't know the true essence of what the culture really is, which I don't know how you would be able to know because you're not a part of it, but you
Right.
know, you
Yeah.
imitated enough to to for us to think that you know, but then you act like you don't know. So
Yeah. I mean, no, I would say some of it is just not knowing and not understanding like how heavy and how entrenched we are in, like we created the street culture, right?
that's a fact.
And then the crazy thing is this, that me growing up in a suburban town and spending a lot of time in a black town, I used to see the crossover.
Hmm.
Like I would be with family and friends in Patterson, see certain things that they're rocking, right? And then 3, 4 months later, I see it in Lincoln Park, and they're rocking the same thing but totally different,
Hmm.
right? So you see kind of like how things trickle. And it used to be crazy too, because it used to be deeper than just that. It used to be deep. It used to be north south. Like I have a lot of roots in South Carolina, and I
Okay.
get certain things in home in New Jersey, go down to South Carolina to my cousins, and they'll be like, "Yo, what is that?" And then it'll come later on,
Yes.
and social media, marketing media, all that type of stuff has cut those walls down,
Right. Right.
right? Cut those walls down totally. So now, you have this, a suburban kid who might be able to see kind of like what's going on in black culture, and they do something with it. They put
Hmm.
their own spin on it. You know what I mean? Um, so I think it's really influential. We're a very influential uh, group, that I think we love to express ourselves, and I think we influence a lot of pop culture. And anybody that I talk to about this, they say the same thing,
What they say.
that that we're the heartbeat.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. So,
It-
so,
it-
so. Oh, go ahead. My fault. Go,
no, go
go.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
So my question was, so do you think that the idea of us influencing all aspects of culture and us being a heartbeat of culture, do you think that that not getting the recognition from the masses outside of our own culture is the issue, or is it those people trying to come in and take different parts of the culture and implementing it into theirs?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know which is the worst of the two,
I,
because
that's why I asked the question.
right, right. Because listen, I think the worst thing for any brand or anything to do is to do something that is not authentic,
For sure.
right? So if you're going to pick and choose moments to assert yourself into a cultural topic, I don't know if that's really the way to go about it,
Hmm.
because it kind of looks a little bit shallow. But if you continually show your alignment throughout the years with different groups rather than just Black History Month or
Right.
National Women's Month or whatever the case may be. I think you just have to do a better job at just showing your alignment the year, throughout the years. And that way, when you do have those special moments, those key tentpole moments that, you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. They've been doing this. It's not just a one
Hmm.
time thing.
Yeah, and because the reason I asked that question is because I think that a lot of the disconnect is like people like I would think that we don't really mind like sharing the culture, but it's the idea of, well, you didn't make like for instance, example, like when they was asking Travis Kelce about his haircut and they was like, oh, this is the Travis Kelce fade. Like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? It's like this is not like we've been fade out here for
I heard, I
hundreds of
remember that.
years. Like,
I
but
remember
something
that.
like that, yeah.
And I remember a broadcaster saying, "Man, I guess y'all never heard of Nas or something
I
like
know,
that."
no, right, like, you know what I'm saying, like, the half moon and the whole
Yeah,
thing, but like, but something like that, it's like, ain't nobody had no problem with, and this is not, saying that he did anything, intentionally or whatever, but just the way that people perceive things and, make things
yeah,
look like, we ain't got no problem with you getting a fade, brother, like, get your joint faded, but
bro.
we got a problem if you call it the Travis Kelce fade, that's crazy.
Hey, and the crazy thing is, like, I love people who I feel like love the culture.
For sure.
Like, and even if you don't love the culture, like, I can still find that you have a good heart. Like, just because you're involved, you don't really like certain type of music, or or streetwear, or
Mhm.
certain type of art. That doesn't mean you're a bad person,
Right.
right? But like, I feel like it's so dope when you have people who are into like sneaker culture
Yes.
and art and music and different foods and sports and all that type of stuff. And it's just a rainbow coalition, right? Like, it's, what I'm saying, you're AAPI, you're white, you're black, you're Hispanic, but the common glue is your love for these things.
Mhm.
That is nothing more beautiful that. And I think that's the true beauty and love of like the spirit that embodies the culture, because it doesn't have a color to it. It doesn't
Th
have a gender to it. It's just like people. Like, you want to see a bunch of dope people go to a sneaker drop and see that
Right.
line. Like, and see
Right.
who's in that line. Like, it,
Every person, color, age, the
love it.
whole 9.
Love it.
Yeah, and again, like I'm all for it too. Like culture to me is definitely the thing that I hold so true to myself because that's literally what is like what my makeup is. Like I can't get these things off me. The music that I listen to, the places I was raised in or places that I frequent, the way that I speak or just the way I dress, I see I got the Yankee fit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
it's just it's like it's a whole thing. Like I wear it on my body, like literally and figuratively. Like, and that's something that being able to not get that off and not being able to say, oh, I'm just going to take this armor off and put it over here and be somebody else. Like this is me every single day. So I also too think that that is one of those disconnect points too with a lot of people. Where some people feel like it's something that you could just put on, and when you're done with it, you take it off. Like you could put on the outfit and put on the shoes and put on the hat and listen to the music, but you don't really know what it is to be this. You don't know what it is to live this every day. Whereas some people who may not be, of the culture ethnically, they have lived through it. Like for instance, people was going at Fat Joe saying that Puerto Ricans is a integral part of hip hop, and everybody was like, "What do you mean? That's not true." Which is crazy because it's a fact. Puerto Ricans are very much a part of hip hop culture. But but,
yes,
but, but right, but people was going at him talking about no, this is not facts. Puerto Ricans wasn't a part of hip hop, which is crazy to me because
that is
we have pictures, we
crazy,
have music, we have reference points, literal reference points to this being an actual factual thing.
bro. Like, hip hop was founded, cultivated, created in the Bronx,
which
which
hosts
was
a lot of Puerto Rican
a lot
people.
of Puerto Ricans and a lot of black people all living amongst each other
Right.
and getting down. Like, you gotta be kidding me.
They must have never heard of Rocksteady. I don't know.
Yeah.
But things like that's where it gets murky because it's like you got people that try to defend the culture but defend it very very wrongly. It's that was a horrible thing for like for me being somebody who is a student of the culture and of the culture. It's what do you mean? Like you can't just pick and choose and say, oh, this is not true just because that's how you feel. Like, no, that's
Wait,
not a thing at all.
so wait a minute. How you go into rap music and not ask the next rap question?
It,
The
you
top, yeah.
let's get to it, because generally I like to ask this question to all my guests, whether you're a professor, a artist yourself, whatever the case may be. Let's get to it.
Get to
So
it.
we was talking a little bit on the record, and I need to check your temperature real quick when it comes to this thing that we call hip hop, the thing that we know and love. Shout
Okay.
out to hip hop, by the way.
Okay.
Let me get. Matter of fact, I'm gonna ask you two questions. Two questions. Same kind of situation. What is your personal favorite top 10, and who is your 10 best all time?
So I'm used to doing five, but
What do five then? We can do five.
yeah, because 10, whew,
I'll
because
give you.
10,
I'll give you mine too if that helps you.
because you know why? Because if I do 10, I'm gonna make an error. I
I,
know that
no,
because it
no,
gets it
it's
gets
no
murky.
errors. No
It gets
errors. No,
no.
no errors.
I'll look back at this recording and be like, why did I say Young MC? Why did I say Young?
Young MC was hot. What you talking about?
Nah. All right. So top five.
Which one you doing first? Your best all time or your favorite?
My okay. So best all. Let's do best all time.
All right, the best you've ever heard.
Best that I've ever heard.
You doing it in order or
I'll
no
go
order?
five. I'll go 5-1.
Okay, go ahead. Do you think?
Okay.
Got my popcorn
So,
ready.
so best of all time MCs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to go. Um, and I'm gonna do this. That's just to lay it out there because I know there's so many dope like battle rappers and all that type of stuff. I'm talking about MCs that have withstood the test of time that are
Okay.
notable. That are notable.
Right. Okay. No, matter of fact, you don't even have to say
Okay.
who. I don't care if people know who they are or
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
If you think they in that five, you say their name. All right. And you can
Okay.
and if it make you feel better, you can come up with your own criteria as to how you are picking these people, whether it's lyricism, sale, whatever
Nah.
your
I'm gonna keep
criteria
it
is.
simple. I'm gonna keep
All
it
right.
simple.
Do you think? Let's get
All
to it.
right. So five, I'm gonna have to go with.
Don't be nervous, man.
Nah, bro. All right. Five, Black Thought.
Okay, that's acceptable. Shouts out
Yep.
to Black Thought.
Right. Black Thought
Philly
is
in the building.
dope. Dope. Four, I'm gonna have to go with. See, it's tough. It's tough because I love Nas, but Nas is
Oh, see, you're trying to play with me now. What you about to say about Nas before I get
yo.
mad?
It's like the new flow Nas and like some of the stuff that recently like it gets your head bopping. I don't feel the same way as it was written and as Illmatic. Like it's tough. It's tough to do other joints after Illmatics because Illmatic could have
it's,
been like top three albums of all time. So it's like,
me personally, that's the best hip hop album of all time
yeah,
to
it's
me.
it's crazy. It is crazy, right? So I'll go Nas. I'll say four Nas.
I, I, I got I got to hold my face. I forgot.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
Fine. It's fine. Uh Three, this brother to me is very underrated. And he drops gems every time you listen to him and just straight up creativity and just the flow and unapologetically him with lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Most Yasin Bey.
Okay. I'm not mad at this list.
Yeah.
I'm lying. I'm mad at Nas at 4, but
Hey. But when you hear 1 and 2, you're gonna understand. So number 2 is Rakim,
all right, okay, all right, okay.
and then you have to
That's
know,
the God.
and you have to know who the number 1 is.
All right, okay. So I do know the answer to this question. Do I like it? Absolutely not.
Oh.
Absolutely not.
Dun,
But
dun, dun, dun.
but I'm gonna let you say
Dun, dun,
it.
dun.
Oh wait, no, I got where my
Last
head.
Master
I got.
KRS-One, of course. Come on now.
Okay, all right, okay.
KRS-One, man. You kidding me?
You
The
know,
teacher?
I'm not mad at this. The only reason I told you that I didn't like it is because you got him over Rakim, and I just can't accept it. I just cannot
You
accept
got
that
wait, so you got Rakim over.
over KRS, like
See,
all the time.
we're free to argue. Like those to be honest with you, one is like a 1A, 1B situation.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
Right?
I feel you on that. I
But
feel you
if
on
you
that.
gotta put one somewhere, like, you know what I mean? Like if his name was Rakim number 1 or Rakim 1, I would probably put him at 1, but it's KRS 1. So
No,
KRS is going first.
I ain't even gonna lie to you. So we have what I like to call. Matter of fact, you might be mad at me when I say this, but I've said this on the pod before. Okay, so the 4 goats of the '80s to me is Rakim, KRS One, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap. Right, these are the 4 with Slick Rick rounding out my top 5 of the '80s. Right now,
Okay.
now this is my all-time hip hop hot take. I'm
But
gonna
we
say
weren't
this.
talking 80s though, right? We were just
No,
talking.
no, no,
Okay. All right.
just in in general. But I'm getting to a point here because I might blow your mind depending on how you feel. This is my all-time hip hop hot take, and I'm gonna let you know, and then I give you my 5 if you don't cut the camera off. My all-time hip hop hot take, and I want one from you too. All-time hip hop hot take. My all-time hip hop hot take for the people who've listened to the podcast before and have heard me say this on plenty of occasions. LL Cool J in the '80s. This is in the '80s.
Uh-huh.
LL Cool J is closer to being out of the top 10 than he is being top 5. To me,
Say it one more time.
LL Cool J is closer in the '80s.
Yeah.
Is closer to being out of the top 10 than he is being top 5 of the '80s. To me.
Okay. Explain.
So I gave you 5 already, right?
Yeah.
In the '80s, that being Rakim, KRS-One,
Uh-huh.
Kane, G-Rat, Slick Rick.
Uh-huh.
So we can go Ice Cube. I don't think L was better than Cube in the '80s.
Uh-huh.
I don't think L was better than. Let me see. I, me personally, I ain't liking better than Chuck D. Personally, I like Public Enemy more than I liked LL in the '80s. I don't know how you feel about that. But
Wait,
mind you,
what?
he's already at 7. I already got 7, so he's closer to being out of.
Hold on. I'm stuck on one thing though.
What talk to me?
Okay. So LL Cool J came on the scene. He had to been, like, I don't have the exact timing, but it had to been 82, 83.
So his debut album came out in '85, which is before Rakim and anybody else that we named, which is
Yeah.
crazy to think, but
And then
it's true.
Cube
Was
with
was it was
NAA.
80 was 88, 89.
88, 9, yeah. So
But
dang. So even with a 3, 4 year jump, you
yeah,
still giving it to Cube.
yeah, yeah. Because that record was so like I don't even have to explain Straight Outta Compton to anybody. At least I would hope I don't have to, but
Right?
it's
Yeah.
self-explanatory.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely shook the frame. And it
Not,
was definitely something that was like,
not to mention his pen also for other people
yeah, you're right.
who I won't put in there because they got the pen game from Cube. So I if I can't say Easy E
Yo,
because I would like to say Easy E, but I can't because he got the.
yo, L had,
I understand. I understand. I am a historian when it comes to music, especially particularly hip hop. But
Yo,
This is
L was like right after Run DMC, like L was our next like superstar. Like
right.
L was
I'm
untouchable.
just I'm just talking rapping ability. That's all
Yeah,
I'm
I
talking.
get it. I got it.
That's all I'm talking. I'm not talking nothing else.
You
Not
didn't like
impact.
pink cookies in a plastic bag. You ain't like that. Getting
Nah,
crushed by billions.
that was the 90s. That was the
But that was
90s.
'90s.
That was the 90s.
Yeah, I can't live without my
Well, no, that's
radio.
my joint. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just talking him being able to rap versus these other people that I'm talking about. I don't think he's a better rapper than these people that I named.
Okay, I
Now
got you. Let me
impact
continue.
and everything else,
I'll
you
let you
got it
continue.
by
I'll let you
all
continue,
means.
brother. I'll let you continue.
Nah, I'm saying it's okay. So when I say it out loud, does it sound like super duper crazy or
No,
you?
you're all right. It's okay. You got it.
I don't know. It feel like
No,
that
bro,
shook the
I'm waiting for
tree.
you to continue. I'm waiting for you to continue. I think we're at 6 right now.
No, I'm at 7. I'm at
7.
7. Yeah, I'm at
Okay.
7. M- me personally, and you might, I might remind you with this one. But me personally, I like Just Ice too over LL. Me personally, I like Just Ice. Just rapping, just as a rapper,
Bro,
just as a rapper.
listen, I feel like that was my era, right? Like I loved 80s rap. Especially like once I really started like really like getting a little bit of independence and really understanding and really diving all the way in. Uh and I used to buy everything.
For sure.
Like everything. I was like a DJ. From the age of like 11, I started DJing.
Hey, little boy,
So,
okay.
yeah, man. So look, I'll put it like this. I probably know 2 Just Ice songs.
Yeah, nah. Mm-mm. You got to tap in. Got to tap in.
Bro, I know he was dope, but wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like I said, just as a rapper, nothing else, not impact, not sales, not image, not you
Just
being
Ice
able
album,
to rap.
it had to been what, like 88,
Yeah,
87,
about
88.
87, 88. Yeah.
Because yo, that's when the boom started happening, bro.
No, right.
So you had Poor Righteous Teachers, Just Ice, Bumpy Knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
You had like what's my man King's Son. You had like so many rappers, conscious rappers, right? The first conscious rappers that was just exploding at that time. Every time you turned around, there was a new artist. Like that was a wild time. Okay, Just Ice.
And that's probably where the list end for me, and then I'll probably put LL.
Okay,
So like I said, closer to being out of the top 10 than top 5.
how old are you?
I'm I just turned 27.
Wow.
Yeah, but my age and my hip hop age is two
Yeah,
completely different ages.
your parents raised you right, man. That is
Yeah,
dope.
so the Just Ice one, that's my dad's fault.
Okay, good. Okay,
That's my dad's fault. Why Just Ice is above LO for me because he put me on the Just Ice.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I mean, if I had to add to that list, I'm gonna.
Yeah,
So just
yeah. Who would you put on that list that I might have missed that you think might have a argument?
bro, let's talk about the ladies.
Talk to me.
MC Light.
Yeah, that which is my favorite of all time, and I will tell anybody that at any point in time in life.
Yes. MC Light was a force to be reckoned with. Um, I mean, you have to throw Tribe in there.
For sure. Well, 90.
Yeah,
They was
yeah,
90,
no,
so
there's
yeah.
not. But yeah, I'm talking about like just overall now, right? So my
Okay, all
top
right, talk to me.
five, then got to throw MC Light, you got to throw Tribe in there, you got to throw. So I have 2 all-time favorite, well, 3 all-time favorite rap groups.
Okay, talk to
Um,
me.
yep, and sometimes I can rank them, sometimes I can't. But I think that De La Soul has always been like my number
That's my
one
favorite rap group too.
rap group. Just because every time you listen to them, you catch something different and just
Yep.
how they brought like artistry to
Yep.
the
That
music.
is my favorite rap group of all
Yeah,
time as well.
yeah,
Yes.
oh, yeah. De La is just
Shouts
freaking
out to De La.
yeah. Shouts out to them, bro. Um, and then the Roots.
Okay.
Yeah,
Shouts out to the Roots, man.
yeah,
Shouts
the
out to the
Roots
Roots.
crew.
Philly in the building.
Another another one with lyrics and just artistry. Love it and
Absolutely.
unapologetically being themselves. And then the third one is Tribe.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure. Yeah. I
But yeah,
yeah. So for me, Fife is in my top 10 all time. He's in my top 10 all time. He ain't make my top 5, but he in my top 10 all time for sure.
that's the piece five.
Yeah, rest in peace. That's
Yeah,
the 5-footer, man.
yeah. 5 foot of MC, man.
All right, so where we at on your 5? So we got who number 5? I forgot. Oh, you said Black Thought. Black Thought's 5.
Yeah,
Nas is 4.
yeah.
We got who you
Most
said
deaf.
3? Most Def at 3. Rakim at 2. KRS at 1.
Yep.
All right, and that's your favorite all time.
Yeah.
All right, give me your 5 best of all time. You you
Best.
you put you put every rapper in the room who's walking out that room.
Oh,
That's what I'm talking about.
KRS
Who's
One
the
is
5?
coming out unscathed
Oh, I'm not mad at this. I'm not mad at this.
off the top of his dome coming out. He doesn't have to prepare. He's ripping everyone in there a new one. Oh my gosh. I would say I would say if you put them in a room like Royal Rumble, like who's gonna come out?
Yeah, the best you've ever heard, like the best rappers you've ever heard.
Well,
Not your
all right,
favorite.
if we're taking from that premise, like I'm gonna be looking at it like, all right, this person is relentless and they're not gonna take a L. Like they're gonna like just show off. I would say maybe Jay
Yeah,
at two.
rapping ability versus rapping ability.
Yeah,
Who the best you've
I would
ever
say
heard?
Jay. I would say Jay Z at two.
Okay.
Um, I think Kendrick maybe three. Four would be. It's not too much different because these people that I'm talking about have heart, man. Like,
No, for sure.
yeah, I would say grit for grit, like tear you a new one. Maybe DMX at
Mm-hmm.
four, and then
Mm-hmm.
at five, maybe like a Most Def.
Okay. All right. I'm not mad at this. I'm not mad at this at all.
Yeah, yeah. Like we're talking about like Royal Rumble style. Those cats is gonna. They're not gonna take a L. They're gonna go out. They're gonna go in.
So let me ask you this question. So KRS One is the best rapper that you've ever like listened to.
Karis one, yes, because there's not one album that I can't go to, and he is not speaking of something that was relevant then or is relevant now,
Got you.
or just dropping straight gems. Like he never went off of his stances,
That's a fact.
right?
That's a
Like some
fact.
people will change up with time and all that type of stuff, which is not bad. Like you should change content sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but he always is talking about stuff that matters.
This is true. This is true. Can I say one thing about KRS One that people tend to overlook, which
Uh-oh.
I would no, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. I told you KRS is number 2 on my 80s rappers list. But truth be told, and I don't know how you go like this because you said the 80s is your favorite era, and that's the golden era for sure. Rightfully so, by the way.
Well,
But
I would say 80s and 90s
okay, 80s and
because
90s.
I got my teeth into the
And
music. It was really popping and brand new and coming out. So I really loved it in the 80s. But then by the time the 90s came, I had my own like
mhm,
independence. So I appreciated it in a different way,
right.
you know?
Right. Okay, so this is what I'll say about KRS One that people might not agree with or people just don't really know unless you like really, really listen to hip hop. Me personally, just my own personal opinion, I like KRS's 90s run better than his 80s run.
Bro, that's tough because bro, like if you go back and you listen to the 80s KRS-One, even if you just go to the essentials,
For
you're
sure.
gonna hear some, you're gonna hear some stuff, boy.
For sure.
But then when, and this is what you started to see a lot in the 90s music, was in the 80s, hip hop was still being experimented with.
Mm-hmm.
Like these um producers or recording engineers and mastering engineers, they were so used to mastering rock records,
Right.
right? And these other genres, they weren't used to mastering and EQing rap records.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in the 90s, that's when they start to really understand how the soundscape should be. Like the 90s was totally different. So a lot of the music that you heard, it hit better
It
because it
did.
just had a different feel. Like, I don't know if you were into Onyx or if
Oh,
you're
for
into
sure.
Onyx.
For sure.
So
Attack of the ball heads, baby.
yeah, yeah. So if you listen to the Back the F Up album, right?
Mm-hmm.
Listen to how that thing was EQ'd and mastered. That thing did not sound like anything
Nope.
else. The only thing close to that, how that whole album sounded to me, was Pour Out a Little Liquor from the Above the Rim soundtrack
Mm-hmm.
with Tupac.
Mm-hmm.
Like that joint cut through. In any system you put it, that joint cut through. So I get what you're saying, but I think it might have to do with just how things were kind of
Well,
like,
no, you're right because for the people who know, that's when he got with Primo. Me personally, Primo was my favorite producer and the best producer of all times to me. So I think that might have a lot to do with it. But
yo, Lottie
yeah,
Dottie, I don't wear Versace. I air MCs out quickly at the party. Who am I? The MC. Woo! The
hey, dang, that,
MC.
that's that '90s, baby.
Yeah, that joint was rocking, man. Yeah.
No, that's just I'm saying, but I'm asking you, like is that a crazy take because
No,
you lived through it. I'm retroactively living through it, so it might not hit the same for me as like the '80s KRS-One and Boogie Down Productions, whereas the '90s for me was a little bit closer to me, hit a little bit different for me.
yeah, man. Well, everything for me, music has always been tied into moments,
Absolutely.
right? So in the 80s, my parents, they used to bowl. So they were in like a church bowling league.
Okay.
And every Friday night, I was too young to stay at home by
Hmm.
myself. So I'd be with them every Friday night at the bowling league, right? So, I mean, you can imagine being maybe like a 5, 6 year old, whatever the case may be. They did this for years, actually. So maybe at the age of 5 or 4, maybe I would be going with them every Friday night for like 6 months straight
Right.
to a bowling alley and just sitting there and watching people bowl. And the highlight of those nights would be me maybe getting a milkshake from the little and some French fries, right?
Hmm.
But then when I got introduced to music around that time, like seriously, got my first little boom box, I'd bring my boom box and the tapes that I have, and I'd find a corner near the bathroom and I would just play my music. So that whole time I'd be in there just dancing in a corner, listening to all type of stuff. And all of a sudden, other kids that were there under the same circumstance would be coming by me, bringing their tapes in. Like, yo, put this on. Yo, did you see the new? Did you hear the new MC Shan disc? Did you hear the Bridge is Over? Da-da-da-da. So that was a glorious time for me
For sure.
because it was a sharing of music and talking and arguing about who's the best MCs. Like, did you hear this joint? Oh, listen to this. Da-da-da. Did you hear this, DJ? Did you hear this? So it meant different. It was a different feeling. That's when I think
Hmm.
about 80s music. That's what I think of. When I think of 90s music, I think of me trying to be grown and fast.
Yeah, like everybody else.
Everybody else, right? You know what I mean? And just a different type of vibe. And it became more acceptable about that time, right?
This is true. I mean, like I said, I just particular to the KRS One point, like you can't go wrong to be quite honest. But like I said, just for me personally, due to the premiere part of it, I like the '90s run better. And two, which was crazy. like just thinking about it, like him, Rakim, G Rap, and everybody like that. A lot of them didn't really have that great of a '90s. But like G Rap had what was it, 4, 5, 6? I think it was
Yeah.
that album. Yeah, like that was a great album in the '90s
Yeah,
for G Rap.
Road to the Riches and all that stuff on it. Yeah,
Yeah. Road to the Riches was '89, I
yeah,
believe.
something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So like they '90s run, like Rakim '90s run wasn't like the glorious '80s run that he had, but KRS-One was like, damn, is your '90s run better than your '80s run? Like it was he was the only one kinda that really had like that kind of run.
Yo, man, but Karis One was also like he was part of the pack in the '80s, right?
Hmm.
And I think he took that leap. Like he still was part of it. He took that
That
leap.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like yo, I need to be respected now.
Hmm.
Like I don't know if it was intentional or was part of like the management team. Like yo, let's do something that's a little bit more quote unquote quality.
Right.
Let's see what you because that Return of the was it Return of the Boom Back? I can't even remember the name
Yeah,
of that
yeah,
album.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Return of the Boom Back.
That's
Like,
'93, I
yeah.
believe. Yeah.
So like when that came out, it didn't get like too much promo. It dropped,
Mm-mm.
right? Because you got to think at that time too, like everybody was paying more attention to Nas, Biggie,
Hmm.
Woo. Like when this joint dropped, it was like, dang, like this is what lyricism is. Like it was so well put together, right? But I don't know. It's like one of those things where he had to be respected. I think he had already kind of like made his bones in the rap game. All of the industry DJs were playing it. You know what I mean? They were supporting
Hmm.
it because at that time, that's what you did to people who had talent.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was payola going on back then, but at the same time, if it was dope, you know what I'm saying, you were respected, they're gonna play you.
Oh,
So
this is a
yeah,
fact.
yeah, man.
I owe you my five. I forgot. I owe you
Go ahead,
my
let's
five.
go. Let's go.
Okay, so my all-time five is my favorite all-time five as well. It's just in a slightly different order. So I'll give you my favorite all-time five from 5 to 1. Since you did 5 to 1, I do 5 to 1. So my favorite all-time five, 5 to 1 is Jada Kiss at five. How you feel about Jada Kiss? It's a
Love
good pick.
Jadakiss.
Okay,
Yeah,
huh? Okay,
yeah.
just got
Jadakiss is
gotta check the
there's
temperature
there's certain people, there's certain MCs that kind of go under the radar for me, but the Jada is one of the dopest.
for sure.
So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Top five dead or alive.
that's right. That's right.
Number four, I'm going with DMX.
Uh,
Number three, I'm going. This is my favorite. I gotta remember. I'm going with Nas at three.
uh,
Number two, I'm going with Big Pun.
ooh, pun that too.
Yeah, yeah,
Ooh, ooh,
yeah. And and
okay.
and and number one, I'm going with Big L. Hmm.
Huh.
I'm gonna let you marinate on that, and you give me your response.
Yeah, yeah. Big L threw me for a loop. I went.
Why?
Well, look, I was a big fan of Digging in the Crates.
For
Like
sure.
I loved them. I loved them. Like the
Yes.
production, just anybody who was in their crew.
Hmm.
I just thought they were dope. But to be honest with you, I don't think I respected Big L, and a
Hmm.
lot of the stuff that he used to spit was dope. But Big L just wasn't my thing.
Okay.
He just wasn't my thing, and I don't want to call it a fault of mine, but I will say if I'm not into your presentation,
Hmm.
sometimes I will cut it off.
Got you.
Like I just wasn't to me, I understood how dope of an MC Big L was, but I wasn't into his how he presented himself lyrically.
Okay, so
Like I found I thought his voice, and this is all rest in peace, Big L.
rest in
It's
peace.
all respect. I just his voice to me was a little bit annoying.
See, well, he does have a higher pitched voice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's nothing to do with his lyricism. It's just how it was presented. Like I just didn't. I wasn't just vibing on it like that.
Okay, so when you say present yourself as an artist, you just mean like the voice, the image, like what are you detailing exactly?
No, at that time it was just like I guess, yeah, how like high his voice was and like how his flow. I wasn't a fan of his flow.
That's a hot
I
take.
know he was saying stuff. I know he was saying some stuff, right? But I just wasn't a fan of his flow
Okay, all right,
at the time.
okay, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. So okay, so like when you was talking about moments, right? This is why Big L is number one on my list. So I happened to be I had to be no more than I don't even know 10, 11, maybe I don't know. Uh, and I was looking for Jay Z freestyles on YouTube, and I happened to come across the Big L Jay Z freestyle on Stretch and Bobito.
Uh,
And as soon as cause L raps first on the freestyle, so as soon as I heard L rap, I immediately closed the laptop, grabbed the laptop, went into my parents' room, and I was like, Dad, who is this? Who is this? And from that point forward, he was number one on my list.
okay.
He was number one on my list from that
Yeah.
because I was like, like, what is like? It was it for me. It felt probably what it was like for y'all to watch Michael Jordan play basketball for the first time. Like that's what it felt like for me
Right.
hearing Big L rap for the first time.
Bro, I mean, even what you just mentioned with Stretch and Bobbito, like when you stumbled upon that radio station back when I was young, man, I didn't know what the heck was going on.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because we didn't have all this digital stuff that y'all have now. Like we used to have to turn the dial. You go to 98.7 Kiss FM. You go to 97.1. I think they, at some point I think they were still rock 97.1.
Hmm.
107.5. But then as you were going to these, I think after 107.5 there was a little space, and I think they were in between that. And I think I went too far one day, and I was like, wait a minute, this sounds like you know my people. Like, what's
Yep.
this? What's going on here? And I remember me just being in the bathroom, like combing my hair or something like that. Just finished taking the shower,
Hmm.
and I just heard it. And next thing you know, like it just became religion. Like it wasn't every night. I can't remember what
Yeah,
nights it
right.
was.
I was just about to say, like at that time, hip hop didn't play on the radio every day, right?
Yeah, it was like Tuesday. I think the Stretch and Bobbito show was like Tuesdays and Thursdays, or just Thursdays. But anyway, like that show was crazy. You never knew who was
Hmm.
going to come up there.
Hmm.
Like it was amazing, bro. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive, man.
Yeah, again, like even for somebody who didn't live through it, such as myself, like the Stretch and Mobito show has played an integral, like just like Finn, the Big L being on the Stretch and Mobito show, and that being my favorite rapper of all time. Like that doesn't happen without them, So them being an integral part of the culture, like we're talking about now, it's things like that, and that's a Puerto Rican dude and a white dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what's great that I've never stopped embracing the music from the 80s, 90s, but I'm also open to all this new music
Hmm.
that's out now. Like I don't cut it off. I don't really promote it like that on, my pages. If I'm gonna choose a song or something as a backdrop, it's not gonna be probably anything, new like a Trippie Red or whoever the case may
Right.
be out now. Um, I do like 41. Like I like 41, bro. They were dope. I like the energy. But I think it helps now because it's great because the people who were involved in hip hop back then, listening to hip hop, my age, now they're like CEOs of companies, vice
Right.
president of companies, right? And if you just incorporate or embed some of that culture, that hip hop music culture into a campaign, they're gonna perk up. Like they're gonna be paying attention to it because these are all ex hip hoppers and still hip hoppers, but now they have the buying power.
Yes.
right? And I think a lot of us, we just want to be paid attention to.
100%. Can I just say, right? So this goes back to my point that I was making earlier when I was like, if you have anything that you're working on, please let me know. And I'll be a part. If you got anything, as you can see, I have a lot of cultural relevance.
Uh,
So I'm just saying I could be an asset to somebody. Why
I
not
hear you.
be you?
I hear you. I'll tell you this: when the time is right and it makes sense, then you know, don't worry about it. It'll happen.
Call me up, man.
But one of the things I've learned, you don't force anything.
No,
You
no,
know?
not at all. No, no. I'm
Yeah,
just, I'm,
you
I'm,
put it
I'm
out
just,
there.
yeah, I'm just,
You put it out there, and then you let the world take care of the rest.
yeah, I'm, hey, like I said, I walk up to you, we right here, right now on the
That's
HolloTalk
right.
podcast. You know what I'm saying? So
That's
like
right.
I said, I'm just saying, I'm just, throwing that out there, because why not?
Why not, bro? What? You said when you miss 100% of the shots, you don't take, right?
Exactly. And not for nothing. So too, right? Like meeting you that day, right? And watching you talk and being able to see it up close and personal and being able to, do the research on you for the podcast and having you on and talking to you now, I must say that it is an honor and a pleasure to be able to see someone who is as embedded in the culture as I am, but also being able to do it on the scale and implementing those things like on a level that you've been able to do it. And for me, being a young black man, that is it's more than I could probably even express to you on this platform right now, or even talking to you off the record. But saying it on the record, like I really want to give you your flowers to say thank you, and that's why I keep shooting my shot to be like, if you have anything, please take me under your wing and let's do the damn thing because you're me. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
you
I
you you were but like I said, you've done it on a level that I haven't got to yet, but that's because you live more life than I have at this point in time. But but that's why I'm so adamant to be like, please, I need to rub elbows with you because you are all of the things that I've ever envisioned me being in the places and the spaces that I want to frequent.
and it's and yes, brother, I understand good energy, and that's something that you have. So
Thank you.
I will promise you, if something comes along and I feel like there's a good way of implementing you, I will try to make it happen.
Okay.
And it's funny that you say like you get thank you for those
No,
accolades,
for
and
sure.
I
No, thank you.
appreciate that a lot because I try to move really without. I like to celebrate in silence, but I've learned over the past that in order for somebody to pay attention to you truly, you kind of have to give that social currency a little
Yes.
bit. Like you have to put it out there. You can't be shy of like some of your accomplishments.
I've
It's
learned that
it's
too.
it's it's necessary.
Hmm.
You just hope that it's received the right way from your audience, and if they don't receive it the right way, that's their problem.
Right.
But I just started a new platform. So like at BRL Gold is kind of like my page that
Right. Right.
shows kind of a lot of the stuff that I do. But in the last year or so, I really wanted to start like pouring in and kind of letting people know some of the things that I've learned over the years to
Hmm.
be even more helpful. So I started a new page called It's a Golden Gem.
Hmm.
Golden Gems is kind of the topic, and that's me just dropping little things about social media, being authentic to your audience. I'll also get into like some of the topics we talked about, like
Right.
creating great relationships, giving little tips that have helped me along the way that could help people trying to come up. Because if you don't have a mentor
Hmm.
that so which I never had, I've had people who've come in my life and I tried working with them or they tried working with me on certain things that I've learned certain things from them, good or bad. Um, but it was never someone who took me under their wing and was like, hey, Tim, move like this. Or
Hmm.
when you're talking to somebody, do this. Or when you're presenting yourself socially, try to do this. Like I'm trying to take my learning lessons, things that have worked for me, and trying to help other people understand how to go about it. It may not always work for you because
Right.
but I'm going to be truthful about certain things that I've been through. Yeah, and then I also some of the content I've been posting lately, it's a little bit humorous. Because one of the things I've always been bad at is showing my other side.
Yeah.
Like I'm always kind of like buttoned up and just trying to
Man,
be a
nah.
little bit more
Yeah, yeah,
conservative.
take them buttons off, man. We
Right,
talking right now. You
right,
feel me?
right. But and I have my circle is very small. I have very few people I
Hmm.
call close friends,
Right,
and they understand what my sense of humor is.
right.
And we always have such a good time talking. And I was talking to this publicist, and she was like, "Yo, you need to let people understand like you are a thought leader in this space because you have the hours, you have the experience, and you have a great personality. Let people know
Hmm.
what it is, and people who like it will like it, and people who don't. But just do it." So I took that extra leap, and I started building content to kind of show my personality well, while also weaving in social topics.
Hmm. No, yeah, which is important. So again, like that's like what I do here on the HolloTalk podcast. So I provide this platform for people who tend to be, buttoned up in other spaces. Nah, you leave all that at the door. You come into the HolloTalk podcast space, and we really talk. Get full, authentic conversations that people can take from and apply to their everyday life. Like you truly just never know what people can take from a conversation, like anything that we've talked about today or any conversations I had with other people on previous episodes. I've had people come to me, or I've had people come to me saying that, yo, I heard somebody say that they listen to your pod and this, that, and the third. I'll be like, damn, okay, all right. So I am like impacted somebody somewhere.
Isn't that beautiful, man?
It
Isn't
is.
it beautiful that, a young person can come up to you and be like, yo, I heard what you said and like it helped me in this way. Like, or just what you said, those kind words before, like just, you know, you never know who's looking at you, who's
For sure.
watching. And it's great. It warms my heart when I have the opportunity to go speak with kids at schools now,
Hmm.
because I was a little selfish when I was younger. I was like, man, I'm going for mine. I'm not worried about nobody else. Now I'm getting a little bit older. I'm like, you know what? I need to help. I need to kind of. I can't just keep the stuff that I know to myself. There's so many people out here that are looking to get into this type of space or have this type of life or career, whatever the case you want to call it, but they just don't know how to do it.
Right.
So if I could be that person to kind of give you some encouragement, um, kind of pull back the velvet rope a little bit,
Mhm.
velvet curtain to see exactly what goes on in the background, I'm more than willing to do that.
And I appreciate that 110%. So like even that, like using like a real life example that I've experienced. So there was a documentary called The League. I don't know if you're familiar with this. Directed and produced by Sam Pollard, who's Spike Lee's editor.
Okay. No, I haven't
He
seen
so is a documentary highlighting the Negro leagues, right?
it.
So
Okay.
like I said, I'm a huge sports fan along with music, but baseball is my favorite sport.
Okay.
So I was watching this documentary, and I was like, oh, like this shit is like really, really good. So I did a little research and figured out who made it, and I was like, oh, I know who Sam Pollard is. All right. So I had reached out to him while I was doing a film program. So I had mentioned that to you before. I was in a film program, so we made a few different films and documentaries and things like that. So I reached out to Sam Pollard, and I was like, "Hey, like I seen your film, like it really, like I loved it. It had a really, really strong impact on me. I would love for you to come to my film program and do a screening of your documentary." And that was just me taking a shot. And he wrote me back probably the same day or the next day. It was like, "Yes, like I would absolutely do this." So he had came and he did the screening, but we also had incorporated him into our film, our youth film reviews.
Uh,
So the students, like had their student films, and we was doing the reviews. So like we played like the rough cuts of the films, and we got feedback from everybody that was in the crowd. But we had Sam Pollard, who is
yeah.
a worldwide proclaimed acclaimed filmmaker. Like he's one of them, and he's been one of them for a long, long time. So it was dope to have him come in and share his film, but also be able to, give us feedback on our films. And then I was blessed enough to be able to sit down with him live in front of the crowd that we had, the students and all the people that came to support, and did a 30-minute interview with him, about his film, and just all the things that we did that day. And one of the things that he said, which is the reason that I bring this story up, is because he told me, he was like, and he told all of us, he was like the joy for me now is to give back to y'all. Like there is, I've done so much, and the legacy I want to leave is what I can leave y'all. So I'm sharing gems. I'm coming out to support you because you asked me to come, and you was like, yo, like I loved your film, and he
Yeah,
came and he came and show love, and he was really showing love, and he just wanted to be like, listen, I have to make it a point to you all to say I want to share my knowledge with y'all. Like it's so pointless for me to have all this knowledge to not share it with the next generation of filmmakers.
yeah,
And so
that's
that's why I share that story.
no, that's dope, man. And that is a golden gem. And look, if it's possible, if we could segue into like, what are your thoughts about social media, organic social media, and how it's helped to grow like your brand? Like, are there little tips and tricks that you use to help grow your audience, get your name out there to more people?
Yeah, like so what I will say is I definitely have to do a much, much, much better job using social media to continue to do that. I think that through the mediums like this, or like, meeting people in person and being able to get my platform out there through those means, I think I'm doing a bang up job when it
Right.
comes to that. But through social media, I make my initial posts, like I'll, make a couple posts in between, and then once that week is done, then I start all over again. So I probably don't have as much traction as I should with each and every post, like for longer stretches of time. But I do think that the people that I do have following the page, or the people that I connected with,
Mhm.
is very, very beneficial when they repost it, or if they're tagged into it. So I think it's more of the connection base, more so than the way that I utilize it per se. So if I'm able to bring that marriage together of, I have the people and I have the platform, and putting that together with using social media to its fullest capabilities, I think I'll be much better.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the overall goal for any business, brand, person is to grow, right? And
For
it may
sure.
not be to grow following, it might be just to grow engagement. But
Hmm.
we all know the engagement is what's key, right? You want to build a loyal audience that is responsive to you, that's listening to you, that feels as though they belong to the community that you're building, right?
Right.
And they do that by understanding that you're credible. And we all know that what you speak of is authentic, right? And you're
Hmm.
credible. So you just have to, convey that to your audience, and you hope they spread the word for you. There's little tricks and things that go on, especially like with IG to,
Hmm.
reach a broader audience, like locking in on reels, like, they have some trial features that can get you to unfollow the people that don't follow you
That don't
rather
follow
than
you.
follow you. So yeah, man, just social media is a powerful tool. Again, I'm an advocate for it. It can be used for good, it can be used for
Absolutely.
evil. But if you choose to use it for good, um, it can pay dividends.
No, yeah.
There's no other place you can meet somebody like that.
Yeah, like I said, well, it wasn't social media, but just through email, like, reached out to Sam Pollard, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
come do your thing."
yeah, yeah,
Stuff like that.
yeah.
You know, yeah. So you were absolutely right, 100%. But yeah, I definitely need to do a better job of being able to bring those two things together. I have pretty good engagement on like different posts that I post. So, like I post the motivational stuff, like I'll post the music stuff, the sports stuff, and things like that. But when it comes to the pod, like I'll do my initial week of posting, and then I won't touch that post no more because I'm focused on the next one. And I think what it is too, like being a creative, like it's I think it works better when you can just do the creative stuff and have somebody else do the back end stuff. Like all you
Right.
need to do is create. Just create. Don't worry about nothing else. I think that's the most beneficial way, I guess, as a
Yeah,
creative.
I think that's what everybody would love to do. But and I think that's kind of how I've made a little bit of a name for myself because I find the back end stuff to be fun.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't want to do.
Mhm.
And I'm like, hey, this is actually pretty cool. It's almost like a puzzle. It's like a Rubik's Cube sometimes, trying to put everything. And there's no better feeling when you like say, oh, right creative, right time, right message, hit post, and you just watch the numbers run because you
Mhm.
knew it was going to do well. You just knew it was going to do well. And it does. Like, there's no better feeling.
No, that's a fact. No, that's 100% true. Because like I said, being a creative, like me personally, like it's like I enjoy the creativity part of the creative process,
Yeah.
but not necessarily like the back end stuff. Now I can do the back end stuff like when it like I said, when I, shot documentaries, like I did the creative part, I did the interviews for some of them. And but then you gotta sit at that computer and you gotta edit and you gotta color correct and you gotta
Yeah.
do all those things. And you'd be like, ugh.
No, yeah, that's not me. Yeah, I'm like I am I'm like the architect, right? I can come up with the concept. I can come up with like the treatment. I can say this is who we should be using. This should be the messaging. This should be how it looks. This is how maybe
Okay, so we're back. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but shit happens.
all good. It's all good. It was all my fault.
No, no, you good, buddy. You good, buddy. But yeah, I definitely want to thank you for coming on the pod. And like I was telling you before, like you oh, matter of fact, I do know what you were saying. We was talking about you being the architect behind
Oh yeah.
uh the whole behind the scenes thing. So the whole point of that is what I wanted to comment on before the technical difficulties happen is when you like the way that you talk about that's still the creative process. So
Yes.
so in those elements in those pockets, those are the reasons why I be like when I see you and I see what you do, I'm like that's me. That's what I want to do. How do I get to that point? How do I take my skills and my ability to do that and marriage that with doing it in business on that level. And I see you do that. That's why I'm like, yes, this is the guy, or this is the kind of person I need to be around and be under their wing.
Yeah, and you're doing the right thing now. Like the thing that we can never stop doing as creatives is not to do. Like we always have to be. Like I talked before about me having a little bit more time now, right? Because I'm not ripping and running in this new position that I'm in, and my wife has said, "Oh, now you can kind of chill out and relax a little bit
For sure.
when you're not working on your projects at work." I'm like in my mind, like, yeah, right, that sounds good. So and now I started this new page where I'm building content that talking to an audience, trying to build a page, have a vision that I'm trying to see through. I got a couple other side projects that I'm currently working on, right?
Hmm.
So we can't sit still. We have to keep doing. As long as you keep doing, you will surpass me and a lot of people out here that are doing what we're doing now. You just have to
Gotcha.
stay busy, keep creating, keep networking and meeting people, and keep delivering high quality products, man. That's it. You're more than halfway there, man. Keep going, brother.
No, for sure. But like I said though, like you being a part of my journey, up to this point, coming on the podcast, and all the conversations that we had prior to being, on the podcast right now, like I'm very grateful and appreciative of, and I always want to make it a point to let you know that I do appreciate it, and I want to continue to nurture and build this relationship that we're nurturing and building now, because I don't want it to be missed to be like, oh, like he just kind of cool or hit. No, like let's get to it. Like, let me know. Whatever you got, let me know.
I'm down. You're down. I'm down. Let's do
Nah,
it.
All right. Well, before we go, is there anything you want to big up, shout out? Anybody you want to big up or shout out?
Yeah, I want to shout out me, y'all. Keep doing your
I,
thing, me.
you feel
Keep
me?
doing your thing, me.
You feel me? I said that on my birthday post. I said, shouts out to me, man.
Hey, I don't give me enough credit.
You should give yourself some credit.
2025 a year of me, man.
You the man. That's why you on the HolloTalk podcast. I don't,
Far from the man, but
Nah,
just
nah,
trying to.
nah. I mean, you ain't got to say. Let me say it for you. That's why I'm your split star right now. It's my man. He the greatest. He the greatest. The Boudini Brown. You the greatest.
I appreciate it. But I will say this. I just want everybody to follow my pages. So,
For sure. You can shout him
um,
out.
yep. So Instagram at BRL_gold. And then my other page, which I just started, is It's a Golden Gem. So ITSAGOLDENGEM.
All right.
So through those two pages, you'll kind of learn a little bit more about me. And then It's a Golden Gem is more about kind of like tips, interviews, things of that nature. Still
No.
cultivating it, but any support would be greatly appreciated.
No, most definitely. And I must say too before we go, thank you for being a leader of the culture, especially in the spaces that you've been a leader of the culture in, because we don't get too much representation or people that actually really know how to bring the culture into these spaces. So me being able to talk to you and build this relationship with you, and you being one of those people, and me aspiring to be one of those people on the level in which you've done it, I thank you so much.
I appreciate it, man.
for,
And
for
kind
sure.
words, I appreciate it.
No, for
Just keep,
sure.
just keep praying for a brother that
No,
that God keeps me, and
you already know God. God for us all, man, for sure.
uh,
You know. All right, thank you, Tim. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Now, I would love to have you back too. I really would love to have you back. So if you got some time, come holler at me, man. All right. So
all right, brother.
peace and love, y'all. Thank you to the How Talk podcast listeners and supporters for supporting us through and through each and every week. And
All right, hold
Tim,
on.
thank
Give you
you
a piece
again,
here,
man.
and let me give you a gold. Let me
Yeah,
give you a
throw it
golden
out.
piece.
You
Let me give
feel
you a
me?
golden piece.
You
Hey,
feel me? Come on, man. We special, baby. This the How Talk podcast. You know how we live it. All right. Peace and love, y'all,
all
man.
right, peace, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.